It's okay to stand out. This is who I am. You are the occasion. Because I hear so many people say, oh, we need an occasion. You are the occasion.
Step right up, folks. You're now entering It's a Circus, where parenting isn't always a show stopping act, but it's certainly entertaining. I'm your host, Elsa, here to prove that no one really knows what they're doing, and that's perfectly fine. Let's have some real conversations, peel back the layers, and remind you that you're never alone in the madness. Let's get the show rolling. Okay, I really cannot wait until you all listen to this conversation. It is absolutely incredible. So I'm going to start with her bio. Her name is Terra. She's the founder of Pink Sebastian Boutique, a mobile fashion truck and purpose-driven brand dedicated to empowering women through style, community, and meaningful connection. With 25 years in education and a former life as an owner of a private Montessori school, she made the leap to reinvent herself and follow a deep passion for fashion, social impact, and entrepreneurship. She's also the founder of Women Powering Change and a board member of the SR Community, Inc., an organization rooted in uplifting women and transforming lives through shared vision and support. Her mission is to inspire and collaborate with other women-owned brands and to create mentorship spaces where ideas, experiences, and dreams can be exchanged freely. She believes the wisdom we gather in this life isn't meant to be kept. It's meant to be shared, poured into others, and passed on. She believes that we carry it forward, and the true gift is leaving it behind for young women raising up behind her, especially her granddaughter, whose own big dreams remind her every day why this work truly matters. And this is such a special conversation. I will tell you, I had goosebumps throughout the whole thing. We talked about transitions, and it was very inspiring. She talks about starting a business, owning a business, the learnings that have come with it, and then what inspired her to make a pivot and to start in a whole new industry and create a whole new community and business. She talks about what motherhood and how motherhood has shaped her journey. She also has this impressive history of creating a school and starting a school from scratch. She talks about having some crazy ideas and this incredible idea about mobile fashion, and she'll go into details. I visited it. It's absolutely incredible. She talks about her why, the importance of having a why, an internal compass, her why then and her why now. She talks about being the occasion, not going to an occasion, not arriving to an occasion, not preparing for an occasion, but being one. She also talks about being a mentor and how that's important for her to leave a legacy. We talk about living in color, living in heels, and drinking champagne. And we could just go on and on. Terra and Pink Sebastian have a lot going on, so please make sure to check out the show notes. You can see how you can shop from her online, schedule the mobile truck at your next event, or how she can edit your closet and all the other services that she has to offer. There is a fundraising event happening in June, so if you're local to the Sarasota area, please check it out. This is literally a masterclass for moving through life, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Without further ado, here's Terra. Hello, Terra. Welcome to It's a Circus podcast. I'm so excited to have you on, and I want to kick us off with a question that I start off with everyone. And what is your mamahood stats? And have you always wanted to be a mom? Can you kick us off?
Thank you for having me. I'm
Of
honored to be a
course.
part of this conversation. I think, yes, to answer that question, I've always wanted to be a mom and I wanted to be a young mom. I kind of plan that. I know sometimes it's planned and sometimes it's not, but I had a plan in mind for myself. And I think motherhood has been one of my greatest teachers throughout my life. And I became a mom when I was in my 20s. And that was definitely a transformative moment of my life. He definitely cracked open my heart.
Mhm.
And but I think motherhood has taught me to be patient and resilient and how to love unconditionally. And the other thing is I also became a grandmother. So that's a whole nother kind of joy.
I know. Okay, so you've been a mother for so long, and then how long have you been a grandmother? Because I love that.
For the last, let's see, 7 years.
Oh my goodness. I love it. And how beautiful. I have only heard one
from my mother-in-law and my mother is just, it's so beautiful to watch your own kids have their kids. So I'm excited to hear, how is that experience hanging out with your grandkids versus your own kids?
I think it's a lot easier.
Yeah, totally.
Because you can spoil them and send them home. But I think I just really enjoy mentoring my grandchildren and teaching them
Mhm.
new things and just jumping into that joy of, hey, let's go paint by the pool, or hey, you want to go to jungle gardens? And yeah, I like being a good mentor to them, teaching them life skills. It's very important to me.
I love that. And I know we'll get into this, but I just want to mention that your business now is Pink Sebastian. And we both have sons that are named Sebastian, which
Yes.
I love, which is one of the reasons why when I stumbled upon you on social, I was like, oh my gosh, we love Sebastian. Love that name. So it's
Well,
beautiful
and
to
I've
me.
never met anybody else that has a son with that's a very unique name. So what's the odds of that?
I know. How did you name your son Sebastian?
It's a family name, which
Yeah.
we found out later. But actually I was drinking a glass of wine and I said, "Oh, I really like that name." And I started looking it up and what the meaning was behind it. And it was a very strong name. And then we found out on both sides of our family that we have that as a family name.
It's like meant to be, like a
Yeah.
sign. Yeah, mine was a little different. We had our kiddos 14 months apart, which I think I shared with you. So we
Hmm.
were painstakingly going over what our first son was going to be named. So just overdid it on the meanings and the whatever to get to his
Hmm.
name. So it was like this long process. And then 5 months later, we find out we're pregnant with another boy. And it was one of those moments where everything is off the table. I don't want to think about anything. I want to anchor into what name feels right for me and for us as a family. And we were watching a show, and there is this celebrity, Sebastian Stan. And I had known about the name Sebastian in a while, but it came up like in that moment where you're looking for a name or waiting for a name to arrive. And I was like, oh, I love that name. We have a connection to France. It was more of a French name. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love the name Sebastian. And so we kept it close as like a top pick. Didn't really tell anybody.
And it can also be a Spanish and an Italian name as well.
Yes.
Sebastiano. Yeah.
Yes. It's all over. And we actually have a little nickname for our Sebastian. We call him Sebi. So
We have
cute.
two. So his friends that are closer his age have always called him Seabass. And that's what it was on all his sports jerseys. And then
So
his great
cute.
grandfather used to call him Sebi.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So cute. Such a good name. I'm so here for it. It is so
Yeah,
special
me
when you
too.
find that name elsewhere. So I love that connection for us. And I want to get into your entrepreneurial moment because I find that just incredibly inspiring. I will let you go for it because I would love to hear how kind of motherhood may have shaped those initial entrepreneurial decisions. And then essentially, what kind of led you down that path?
As a mother, I have learned how to hold space for others while also finding and reclaiming my own identity. And
Yeah.
that shaped everything from how I led my private school to how now I run my fashion business. It gave me a deeper sense of purpose and what keeps me grounded in everything I do. I started out as an early childhood teacher because I deeply believed in child led learning, and that's how I guided my son. My son was very musically inclined and loved art, loved being outside. We did a lot of curriculum activities with kind of a more holistic, natural approach. And that kind of led me to eventually opening my own private Montessori school, which I ran for 2 decades, and creating that environment from the ground up that taught me how to build a community and also how to lead with my heart. And that kind of was my
Mm.
soul with my son as well. And then
Mhm.
after 25 years, I felt a calling to reinvent myself, and that transition was very scary, but also
Mhm.
necessary. And that's when Pink
Mhm.
Sebastian Boutique was born. And I wanted to take my love for style and community and storytelling on the road, literally. So that's when I launched my mobile fashion truck, and it became more of not just a business, but it became a platform to empower women, create events, support causes, and that I deeply care about. And that's what I do with the business through my nonprofit as well as Fashion with a Purpose.
So amazing. Okay, I want to unpack some of those things because one, it's just beautiful, everything that you have said. Starting a school, wow, what a feat. I can only begin to imagine. My little ones are not quite in school, but are experiencing daycare and have taken the time to do as much research as possible. And I would love to know just like what made you decide that you had to create this for yourself and for your child? And then, in addition to, how did you build that from essentially nothing to something 20 years later that is quite an institution?
I think I really looked how I learned as an adult, how I
Mhm.
learned as in my childhood. And I was very creative, and I felt like the public schools suppressed that. And it was all driven around academics, which is important as well. But you need an outlet, right? And my son was the same way. And so when I entered the public school system as a teacher, I felt that way as a teacher. I'm suppressed. My students are suppressed. They're wanting to get outdoors and whatever you can do inside of what I don't call it a classroom, I call it a learning lab, right? Because we're all
Mm.
there learning different things. All that can be done outside as well. And so I think I was a very innovative teacher, and I was taking my kids outside and I was doing yoga before we started teaching in the classroom because I felt like they just needed to move, be grounded, talk about things that were going on in their life through this meditation and yoga. Because really, if you have children that emotionally are not stable or balanced because things are going on, family dynamics, it really stops the learning. You can't even get to that next level of learning until you figure out what's going on in this learning lab with your children and how you can help them and how you can guide them and mentor them as a teacher. And once you get past those big emotions, then that's where the joy of learning comes. And so I felt like the public schools were doing a disservice to children. And so I would walk around and say to other teachers, I'm going to open up my own school, and this is what it's going to be like. It's going to have yoga and dance and art and science, and we're going to be outside for 2 or 3 hours. And they always would think that I was like this crazy teacher, which at the time I might have been. But I had big dreams, and you would hear them talking about me saying, "Oh, she's crazy. She's never going to do it." But for me and my personality, that's what drove me harder
Mhm.
because I knew there was a place for me to be out there in the world doing this and making a place where children would feel safe and comfortable, could talk to their teachers about things that were going on, and really looking at how they learn their multiple intelligence. Are they kinesthetic? Are they a naturalist? And when children come up to you and have a big idea, you have a plan for them. Okay, what's your plan? Oh, I want to write music. Let's get a notebook out. Let's get a pen. Tell me about this song you want to write. And it could be at 4 years old, right? Because that's when we have these big dreams. And just really elevating that for them and listening to them and making them think that they're capable of all of this and their dreams can come true. And that's what happened for me. I created this dream of having this beautiful art enriched school. And I did not know anything about running a business. I had no mentor. I had no degree in business management. So I just learned as I went and learned from my mistakes and what to do and what not to do. And so that's where my business as a boutique comes in as well, because I'm mentoring young girls in the business avenue of, because I felt like I didn't have that. That's like my legacy I'm leaving because I can't take those resources and skills with me.
I love that. I think that's so beautiful. Yes, with creating a school and then creating this next moment. Take me back to those early days. I can imagine that you would have to be a little bit scrappy to pull things together. But I would love to for people that are in the thick of it now, or people that are just starting out and having those same feelings? The world is against you, they're laughing at your idea right now. What are some things that you would advice that you would give for somebody in that moment? And then really, how did you like plow through all of that?
I would say pace yourself. You don't have to do it all at once because that's
Mhm.
what I thought I had to do it all myself. Everything had to be perfect. It had to
Mhm.
be instant gratification. So I think just set up some goals for yourself. You don't have to be perfect. It's messy, but it's a beautiful messy. And lean into people that are older and wiser than you for advice. That's what I had to do. Put yourself in those rooms where people are smarter than you, have been in business longer than you, and ask them those hard questions because I felt like I didn't have that person. And invest in your circle. Find
Mhm.
women who clap when you're winning and
Mhm.
hold you up when you're falling, and never forget your why. That's really important. It's your compass when things get hard. And I think if you just naturally follow that flow, you'll realize that you're going to meet those goals and that you've got the right tribe supporting you. And I think that's the biggest thing. And don't listen to the outside noise. Nobody's your competitor because you're unique, you have a unique business, and stay focused. Stay focused on your business and your goals.
Yeah, I think that is such wise advice. One of the things that I love that you're saying right now, and when I got to visit your boutique, you said it too. And I think it is so powerful. And oftentimes we do get distracted. And it's this idea of just focus on you, what you're creating, what you're doing, what you're putting out to the world, and not get distracted from what's happening around you. That resonates with me deeply. Tell me how you learned that lesson.
Many mistakes. But I always say that there's no mistakes long as you're learning from them and you're growing.
Yeah.
And you know that there are seasons in businesses, right?
Mhm.
And so you have to realize that you're going to go through seasons. There's going to be ups and downs, but you have a purpose, and long as you stay focused on that. And also giving back as well. Giving back is a
Mhm.
big thing. We rise when we uplift others. So when you see other business owners struggling, give them some advice, lift them up, ask them if they need help with anything or if they just need an ear to kind of, because sometimes we do a lot of these networking things and we're passing out business cards and things like that. But sometimes you just need to get together and just kind of vent a little bit.
Mm,
Somebody to
I love that.
listen, just listen.
Yeah, I love that. I think, yeah, the distraction and whatnot can be like disarming. And I think
Mhm.
right now, and you're savvy too, you're scrolling social media and the distraction is just a swipe away. It's like all over the place. And so oftentimes going down like a tunnel of, oh, comparison, or like a tunnel of, oh, I should be doing this versus what kind of my original idea is. And learning that lesson and having those community support. When
And I think
you're
sticking to your values too of your
love
business.
it. Yes. Okay, so values and why. How did you come to that? Have you always had a very clear why, or has the why evolved?
I think it evolves with seasons as well and age. My 30-year-old self starting a
Mhm.
business is not the same as a 50-year-old self starting. And that's a very big different and what I call a season. When you're 30, you're not as confident. So you do tend to go down that what I call the rabbit hole and compare and always comparing yourself to people in your industry and feeling like you need to pivot and do what they're doing. But you again, you just go back to your values, your goals, your purpose, what's bringing you joy to your heart. And one of the biggest things that I can say to people is lead with your heart. And we all don't have the same heart, and we all don't have the same values and purpose. So that looks very different for everybody, for each individual person. So stick to that, stay on that.
Yeah, beautifully said. Okay, so what is your why now?
I think my biggest why now is giving back to my community, creating that community, looking at different charity organizations that are close to my heart, which would be
Mhm.
children, women, animals, people that,
Mhm.
especially animals and children that may not have a voice, women re entering the workforce or coming out of a bad situation. So that's where I collaborate business with my nonprofit and really uplifting the community. It fills my heart to listen to stories and raise money for charities that are helping women, children, and animals, but also bringing together a collaborative of women that want to give back and being excited about planning these events. Like we're doing a fashion show in June, and we have 6 or 7 women, and it's growing and growing, that are coming together that all have these amazing talents and that can push and promote this fashion show for the Women's Resource Center to raise the money. And what a feeling that is, to
Mm.
have that tribe just saying, okay, I can do this. Yes, I'm good at this. I'll take this on. So the energy level is just like when you get in a room with these women that are so capable of so much. It's just, it's so contagious. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. So that's my purpose, really. Right
Mhm.
now I'm going to be 53 in November, and it's just what fills me, that kind of
Mm.
energy.
I love that. So tell us about your nonprofit.
We're rebranding the nonprofit. It was
Okay.
SRQ Community, and now we're changing the name to Women Powering Change SRQ Community.
Love that.
And so it's a collective collaborative of women, small
Mhm.
business owners. We have a CPA, we have a realtor, we have a financial advisor, a planner. So we're coming from all walks of life. Me as a boutique owner, and what our plan is to pick 4 charities annually we vote on it, that are all close to our hearts, and then we implement it through fashion shows.
That
So
is so
fashion with
cool.
a purpose.
Ah, I love it. Okay, I love this. And I love this. What So do we buy tickets to the fashion show? Is it come and make a donation? How does that nonprofit work to
So
raise?
our nonprofit is 100% of the proceeds go back to the nonprofit that we're elevating. So you're going to be able to buy tickets. We're going to launch that next week. So we'll have a
Ooh.
link that you can
Mhm.
go to. And we also have social media pages, so Instagram and Facebook. So everything
Mhm.
will be on there. We'll do a little bit of sneak peeks of where it's going to be. It's going to be a White Lotus Summer Soiree event.
Ooh, okay.
It's going to be in Welland Park, Venice.
Yep.
And it's June 21st from 5 to 8. So there's going to be a VIP section. VIP will get a preview shopping hour, champagne, light bites. We're going to have 12 small businesses there. We always promote small businesses, a little fashion show, music, photo booth. It's just going to be fun. It's going to be a
Mhm.
fun summer thing to do.
Wonderful. That sounds great. So you had a school and so huge. Then you pivot. So I think a lot of times, and something that I feel like I continue to find the thread in all of my conversations is this idea of evolution. You do the most, you spread your wings, you do what you can, and then either life hands you an evolution that you got to do, or you choose one. So tell me about this evolution, about closing the chapter on the school and moving to something else. What happened, and how did you navigate that change for yourself?
I think what happened for me, as far as the school, is
Mm.
that it was during COVID. And we were all pivoting our businesses
Yeah.
and trying to come up with a new plan to keep them afloat. And I think that's when I realized that the school was not joyous anymore. It was
Yep.
just this big machine, and I was in a rat race, and it wasn't fun anymore. To go back a little bit, I sold the school in 2022,
Okay.
and it's still existing. The legacy is still going on, which I'm so thankful for that. But
Mhm.
in 2019, I needed a creative outlet because, again, I was getting suppressed and there wasn't anything fun happening in my life. And I just felt like I needed to reinvent myself, but I
Mhm.
needed something that was creative. And so I decided, I said to my husband, I'm going to launch an online boutique in 2019 to see how it goes. And then I'm going to set myself up a business plan and see what kind of direction I want to go with it. So I did, and I was doing live selling when it was on Facebook. That's kind of
Stop, you were? Oh my God, I love this.
so it was called Wine Down Wednesday. And so everybody would grab their glasses of wine and I would try on clothes and do outfits. And
Oh
yeah,
God,
it's
I
really
love it.
funny to go back and watch those videos.
Oh
I
my
kind of laugh
God,
at myself.
yes. Oh,
But
I love
yeah,
it.
so I was doing live selling, and then I had my friend said, "You really should come down to the bazaar on Apricot and Lime in Sarasota." So I said, "Let me come down and check it out." And it's a
Mhm.
place where there's 40 plus small business and artists. And I've always been an advocate, for shopping local and not shopping at big boxes and really going out in my community and supporting that. And
Mhm.
I want to say this in a funny way, but I was an influencer before that all that was happening because I would
Yeah.
go and buy my olive oil on Venice Island and say, "Hey guys, you need to check this place out," and do little videos and that kind of stuff before I even really realized what I was doing.
Yeah.
And shop local and all this. I went down to the bazaar and I was like, "Gosh, this place is amazing. I would love to be here." Talk with the owner. So I started a little pop up there. And my boutique just really became popular. And I think it was because I was one on one with my clients and I started
Mhm.
styling them and talking about how they could transform their closet to what works for them and their lifestyle. So I started closet editing and it
Yeah.
just grew from there. And then one night I was sitting having tacos with my husband and I said, "Why couldn't you put a retail space and have a mobile boutique on wheels?" And he just kind of shook his head and laughed because he knew where I was going with this because I'm a Scorpio and I'm a type personality. And once I get
I love
something in
this.
my brain,
Mhm.
it's gonna happen. A couple years later, I was on a hunt for 2 years for a retired FedEx truck. And so it took me 2 years to find her. And she was old and rusty, and I found her. And then a year later, Pink Sebastian boutique fashion truck became, and my husband remodeled it and has a retail space and air conditioning and a dressing room. And yeah,
It's so cute. It literally is so cute. And you see it from a mile away because it's pink and fabulous. And then you go in and it feels so much more spacious and you have and tell me because you edit it, I'm assuming not all of your inventory is obviously in the truck, but what you had edited was there's no way someone could leave and not want something in there. You had the
well, thank you.
bags and the bright colors and then like the extra large shirts and all the things that literally anyone and lots of different price points could walk away with something in there. And then your dressing room is really cute. It's a little French Parisian vibe in there. So it is very fabulous and really cute.
Thank you.
How so the vision in my mind is executed flawlessly. It's beyond. It's so amazing. How did you land that? Because I'm sure when you hear the idea of a mobile boutique, I mean that is very unique in general. And then to have it executed so on brand, so absolutely lovely. How what was that experience like getting something like that from idea to execution?
I think it all starts on paper, and it starts on paper webbing, like breaking down my idea. I call webbing. So I make like a big circle with pink Sebastian mobile fashion truck. And then I just start vision board, breaking it down, the branding colors I want for the truck, how I want it to. And that's where the creative juices start flowing. And that's my happy place, picking out what type of slat board I want in the truck. And of course, with my husband's kind of an architect, engineer, designer, he's in construction. So he was a lot of my soundboard, and he's the one who actually built the inside of the truck. So that was all him. But, and then you have to think about the target market because it changes. You're popping up at, for instance, like Body Bar Pilates, and you have a woman demographic there. And then you're going out to Sky Ranch Market, and then you have a different demographics there as well. You really have to put a lot, it has to be a thought out plan for curating those collections in the truck. And based on the season, whether it's summer or fall or resort wear. But also, I seek out other small women owned brands because, again, this is all about purpose. It's all about uplifting other women in business. And it could be small businesses, large businesses, because I can find vendors, right? But I don't know them. I don't have a relationship with them. So I build those relationships by saying, hey, I want to come meet you personally. I love your jewelry. I've seen it on Instagram. I know you're in Sarasota, or I know you're in St. Augustine, because they're all over the state. They could be also in Georgia. So I do Zooms and say, this is what I'm looking for. These pieces will match my brand and my clients, and just building those relationships and curating the truck that way so that it's a supportive community, right? And they're so excited to put their product on something that's very well unknown because they're
Mm,
used to like a brick and mortar. And I'm like, no, this is
sure.
my truck. And this is, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It takes a lot of time to do that, but now
Yeah.
I have a good blueprint. When I'm ready to go out with the truck and I know where I'm going, then I curate the collection, put it in the truck, and I rotate it. I rotate it from my pop-up boutique to the fashion truck, and also I go over to Europe 3 months out of the year. So I'm bringing one of a kind unique pieces, whether it's Spain, Portugal, Italy. And so when I bring those back and my clients know that they're coming on the truck, usually the stuff is sold out the day I bring them back.
Oh
And
my
then I
gosh, I
start
love
all
it.
over again.
Okay. Dream life, Tara. You are living the dream. I'm telling you, that sounds amazing. Okay. So you ran a business, obviously, but you opened up a new business in a different industry. How did you do that? What was the learning curve like?
This time when I opened up this business,
Mhm.
I discovered SCORE. And I discovered SCORE through my nonprofit. So SCORE of Sarasota Manatee. And they have retired mentors, whether they were CEOs, ran big companies or small businesses. And I recommend it to anybody starting a business or an entrepreneur because you can be paired up with a mentor that is in your industry, whether it's retail or, I don't know, opening up a restaurant. And you get to meet with them through Zoom or once a week. And we set up goals. I set up goals with my mentor. They help you build a business plan because this, a mobile fashion boutique, there's no training out there for that. There's no blueprint out there for it. There's
No.
nothing you can YouTube or be online to try to self teach yourself. And this was very unique and new for the mentor too that I met with, but she had a retail background. She knew about marketing strategy and how to launch products. So we would just meet each week and kind of hammer this out and go from there. And it's a huge benefit to any that's thinking about opening up a small business or becoming an entrepreneur.
I love that. And I think I actually have heard of that too before. Someone actually recommended that to me as well. So I think that's
Yes.
a great thing to think about. And you said this earlier in the conversation, and it's like finding that community. And you're a perfect example. You have a wealth of information. You want to be sharing it. You want to leave that legacy. And I think there is a point in time where if you are someone that is entering into a new field, to look around and reach
Mhm.
out and find the resources either locally or from the people around you that you could potentially learn from. I think that type of advice is invaluable, and I think we often overlook it. It's if it's too easy or if it's like you have to like sneak into somebody's
Mhm.
DM or shoot them an email or pick up the phone and call them, stuff like that, I feel like you are a perfect example. I can only imagine you selling stuff on Facebook right now, and I desperately wanna see those videos because that is before that was so popular. How do you tap into that? I feel like you're ahead of the curve. How are you getting in and being fearless with
Gosh,
getting
I
to your
don't
goals?
that's hard to answer. I
Yeah,
feel like I was just born an entrepreneur, if that makes sense.
I love
I
it.
just feel like I'm a connector and I love taking risk. I think it just fuels me and I understand too sometimes people don't have that, but it's just not it just comes natural for me. It's just so holistic for me just to dive in, take that risk and because I feel like if I don't then I'm worse off because then it's that what if I didn't do
Mm.
that? What if I and so to me that's worse for me and my personality. So I just have to go for it. And I try to understand, try to mentor other people by saying that just do it. Take the risk. What do you have to lose? And I don't know. It's just it's hard to explain that.
I love it, and I think you're right. It's this idea of, yes, we can have ideas all day long, but what separates a good idea from, like, the execution phase is really the
Yes, yes.
action, and that's
Hmm.
what you're saying. It's like, who cares if it's perfect? Like, just go.
Hmm.
If you have the
Yeah.
idea, go.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think that's incredible advice. That's gold. If you have the
Mhm.
idea, take action, go. And from my experience, it sounds like, of course, from yours, as you take action, that's where things start to unfold. For
Yes.
me, it's like as soon as I take action, I'm like, oh, maybe I should do it this way, or maybe I should do it this way. And you find that flow. And I think
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes you are paralyzed by overthinking something, making sure it's perfect, or
Hmm.
the fear of judgment.
And I think for me, I never overthink things. I just look at, okay, what's the purpose? What's my goals? And just like you said, how am I going to implement and execute it? And through that process is where things start to beautifully develop and you get those creative juices, what I call going. And it's wow. Okay, let's go. Here we go. This is fun. It's like a roller coaster.
Oh my gosh, seriously. Okay, I love that. I wanna go back to transition because you had a business, you started a business, and we talked a little bit about it, but I guess I would love to know, when do you know you're done with something? When do you know it's the time to move on? And yeah, what was that process like for you?
I think for me, the school, when I realized I was done, is because I had nothing left to give. It was like you just blew out the candle. And I had a purpose there when I started the school. And when you cannot give back anymore and you're not passionate, then you're doing a disservice to that business. So now let's hand it over to this beautiful, because I created that school, the curriculum, everything, the logo, the website, the marketing, everything, the social media pages. I created everything from the ground. There was no buying curriculum. There was everything I did was from my brain, right? So now let's pass that legacy over so that the community, the children, the parents can still enjoy this wonderful, innovative, there's no school like it in this county, and pass it over to somebody that is younger, has the energy, has the passion, and the joy to continue it.
Mm.
And then you close that chapter. Now it's because you're going to have your first act, your second act, your third act at different ages. So now I'm done going to that next act, which is very scary to reinvent yourself at 50.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Yes. Okay. One, I love the idea of acts and seasons. I think
Hmm.
that type of thinking is so empowering. When I reflect back on some of the challenges that I have had, and specifically in this very small window of time when I had an Insta family, essentially, the act, the idea of a season, the idea of another act, of a second act, of a third act, if I was able to think about my experience that I was currently going through, which felt challenging, to know that there was another act that could be
Mhm.
happening or one
Mhm.
unfolding or all of this, it really would have been very empowering. So, how did you come to one, because you're talking about reinventing yourself. How did you come to knowing that's a possibility for you? How did you learn this idea that there's another act and another act as life goes on?
I think you go through you become more mature as a woman too. So those things
Mhm.
start to evolve and you don't think as crazy when you're 30. 50 starts to, you have reason.
Yes.
And so I had to look at this, okay, this isn't going to be scary. This school has served you for so long and you had such wonderful memories. And yes, it was very sad to leave because it's like handing your baby over to somebody and
Right.
making sure, that your baby is going to be well cared for and going to have to edit that out. I'm
It's
trying to
okay.
think the baby, but and that they're going to take good care of your baby. And
Right.
it's like dropping your baby off and looking in the rearview mirror of your car. Are they going to be okay? Is somebody going to influence them? So that was very hard. But then you turn around and you're in the driver's seat and you look forward and you're like, oh, wow, there's this whole new chapter act opening up. And it's something new and refreshing. And your life is going to be recharged because you're going to be literally doing something completely opposite from what you're doing.
Mhm.
And retail is very different than running a
Mhm.
school. I think that I get to rewrite a new chapter, and that's exactly
Mhm.
what I did. I went from being an educator and educating parents and students to now educating and empowering women because they're going through different seasons and chapters and different acts and different things are happening in their life. And
Mhm.
that's where I became the retail therapy and kind of the listener and listening to what was happening in their life and how I could help them through fashion
Mhm.
feel confident and make this leap or go through this transition. And so I was in the same business, but not.
It's like the thread of helping and servicing, and you're just expressing it in a different way. I love
Mhm.
this idea of empowering women, and you talk about doing a closet audit, which I think is so cool. But again, you're working so intimately with clients and helping them and feeling them empowered. How do you do that? What is the secret sauce to getting somebody to feel good in their clothes or to be choosing the right thing for themselves?
I think my secret sauce is just really building that relationship one on one and really sitting down with them through the consultation process and asking them personal questions. Where do you see yourself going, your journey? What kind of transition are you going in, getting ready to transition to? Some women are going into retirement, some want to lose weight,
Mhm.
some might just have their first or second child and they
Mhm.
don't feel so confident in their clothes. So just really coming up with a plan for them. What's going to make them feel good? Rating their closet to what their lifestyle is right now. For instance,
Mhm.
if you have, I had a client that was going from being corporate world to retiring. She was used to wearing a lot of black and suits and pantsuits and things like that. And now she's swimming and going to pickleball lessons and things like that. It's just transforming that closet to where they are in their life, in their season, in their chapter, and being comfortable in our own skin. And my clients have become like some of my closest friends because I'm really listening to them and building that relationship because I feel like you're like a tree. You grow and you get your branches right, you drop your leaves, you go through those seasons, and that's okay. It's okay that maybe we gained a little weight. It's okay that we're going through a different journey in our life, or some women are going through divorce. So it's
Mhm.
just really listening to them, building those relationships, and empowering them through their stories. And you're telling a story through their closet, through styling an
Mhm.
outfit for them.
What are some tips for picking things that feel good or for certain seasons in our lives?
I think one of the things that I say to women is find things, and that's where I come in, that fit. Because when
Ooh.
I'm in women's closets, they're buying things on sale racks. They may not have tried it on, or it didn't fit them like they think it did. Colors. What are the right colors for you? Body styles. We talk about body styles, finding things that flatter our body style. We're not all made up the same way. So I really look at that, and because color is a big thing. Color kind of tells our story. It's like painting a canvas, and it changes our mood. And so I think a lot of women are afraid of wearing color.
Mhm.
And so we talk about that, talk about colors that make us feel good and what colors you gravitate and what's the right colors, but the right fit of clothing, definitely. And so what happens is we buy these clothes on sale, we buy these clothes that don't fit us correctly, and then we have this closet full of these different pieces, and now we're frustrated.
Mm.
And you have to create this closet of things that fit us well, colors that we love that are flattering on us, and also some staple pieces because we don't need to get rid of everything, throw everything out. We just need to find some good staple pieces that we can recreate outfits. You can have a few staple pieces and create 5 or 6 outfits out of it. So we don't have to go all in with this big budget and throw everything out. So that's what I do, scale it down for them.
Mm.
And when they're shopping with me too, I'm very honest with them. If I think a piece maybe they're not going to love in a couple weeks and then maybe not the right fit. So helping them select those pieces, which I think is what sets my business aside from just a retail space or just being a boutique. Or I'm not just a boutique. This is what I'm a community.
You can feel that when you're in your presence, which I love. And when you're shopping, you really are asking questions and connecting with them and showing things. Something that I immediately recognized when I walked in is color. And I there was a moment in time where what was really chic and cool was just to have like cream and beige everywhere. And I remember this specifically because everything in my body wants color. There and sparkle and like ridiculous things. No, there's no thing in me that is, oh, I just want this white on white life. That is just not me. But I felt this pull of, oh, that feels chic and luxurious right now. Like maybe I need to switch it up and just do all of this. Talk to me a little bit about color because I think you're right. So many people are scared of wearing color, having color. Why do you think that is? And what do you do to break people out of that?
I think that comes with confidence
Mhm.
and not wanting to stand out a little bit.
Mm. Yes.
But you know what? That's okay. It's okay to stand out. It's okay to, this is who I am. This is my style. And that's what I try to, you are the occasion. Because I hear so many people say, oh, we need an occasion. You are the occasion. Guess what? You only get to live this one life. So do just like you're saying, you're attracted to color, even though everybody was saying to wear white.
Mm.
Do what is you feel in your body that feels good. And because you only get to do it once. And that's what I tell people. I say, oh, where am I going to wear this dress? And I joke with my clients by saying, I'll wear it by my pool with a glass of champagne. I don't care. And I give that attitude to my clients. This is who you are. This is the style we're creating for you. And if you want to wear a color, it's just like that advice. Don't listen to the background noise. This is what you feel good in. And you only get to do this once. So do what you want to do, not what everybody else is telling you to do. And I do the same advice with my granddaughter. She comes in my house with all her sparkly shoes and her purse and this and that. That's what makes her feel good. And that's a good
Mhm.
example. Being this little girl and being vibrant and energy and happy. Don't we want to be that as an adult as well, too?
Mm. I love that. Be the occasion. That is my favorite thing in the world. And I have people in my life that I'm literally going to tell them that because there is this conversation around, oh, I don't have a wedding to wear this to, or I don't want to wear this because this could be too much at whatever occasion that you're at or going to, or I don't want to just wear this to the grocery store all the time. That's the only place I go to. Why would I wear that? So I love that philosophy. And I am living that dream life of wearing my absolute best with champagne by the pool.
Yes. And I say, and if you are, I love my heels because I know one day that I'm not going to be able to wear my high heels because there'll be a time in age that I won't be able to. So I wear my heels to the grocery store if I want to. And I can't tell you how many people stop me and say, "Oh, I love your outfit." They look at me like, "Oh, she's wearing her heels to grocery shop." Yes, I am. I am the occasion. I'm comfortable in my heels, and I know there's going to be a day when I'm 80 and I can't walk in them. So I'm going to wear them till I can't anymore.
Oh my God, I love it. This is the season of heels until it's not, okay?
Exactly. Mm.
Oh, beautiful, Tara. Okay, so tell me about building community because again, another thing I love about your business and your mission, because you say this often, it's all over your marketing, is it's not just a boutique, it's literally like a movement and community. Talk about what the difference is.
I think the difference is with my store is that I have people that come and just hang out with me
Yes, I can see that.
because they just need a space. And that's what I say to people about business is that it's not always time and time. I didn't get any sales. Nobody bought anything. It's not always about that. And sometimes your community that you're creating and that you're attracting is doing things for your business such as resharing a post, tagging you, "Hey, I came and took a tour of the fashion truck." I've had people that just want to come and tour it, and that's okay. And we chat and we talk about life and laugh. And I think that's what I'm building is a space where women just feel comfortable. They know they can say anything to me. It stays in that space. And I'm there to help them in any way that I can, whether I'm doing it through the business, the nonprofit, or just an ear. And that's what I want. I want a space where women feel like they can just come out and hang out with me wherever I'm at, whatever I'm doing, and just listen. It's not always about a sell. It's about sometimes people just need that space, and that's what we are.
That is so beautiful. And clearly, you're hitting a nerve because I feel like that's exactly what they get when they come in. If you were to give yourself, like in reflection, if you were to give yourself some advice pre kind of everything, what would you tell her?
I would say create the truth, not the trend.
Ooh, okay. Tell me more because that's really powerful.
I think burnout comes from chasing everybody else's idea of success. And I think sustainability comes from doing what aligns back to your values.
Okay. That's on repeat in my head now. Oh, okay. So finding the truth and aligning to your values. How do you do that?
I think just, again, just staying true to me, what I want in this particular season of my life. And I don't want the hustle. I want to have downtime. I want to have boundaries. And I want to create that for myself. I want more time to travel. Travel is such an incredible experience for your soul, and meeting other people from around the world, other women, especially. I meet a lot of women when I'm traveling, and I learned from them and the way that they do things in Europe in their business. They close their business for 2 hours. That's unheard of over here. How do you do that and stay afloat? So I learned a lot of lessons from them. They take those 2 hours and they're having their dinner with their family at a table, no phones, no connection to the internet. just genuine conversations. They have champagne at 11 in the morning at the markets with no judgment. Those are my people. That's my tribe. So I think that's what I'm creating for myself in this season is yes, I can have a business, but I can have boundaries. I can have family time. I can disconnect. I can travel with no guilt.
Wow.
I always felt guilty for leaving my business, always, first and foremost. So I don't do that anymore.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I actually have had like true burnout. I had to leave a job. I had a very serious health scare. And I knew it was because I was traveling cross country every single week. I had no time at home. I had no time for relationships at all. And
Mhm.
then you're working 24/7. And no matter how much you work, there's always like the next and the next and the next. And it was chasing that perfectionism, that being the best, that, having to be this like star. I have no idea. It's the whole burnout culture.
Yes.
So, yes, in the quest to release that in a world that I think really celebrates that, what have you had to learn? How did you learn that? What did you have to learn? And what are your boundaries now that you would share as like a tool for somebody else to utilize?
I think that for years I overgave, right? Time, energy, resources, because I thought that's what service looked like. But I
Ooh.
learned by protecting my peace, it's essential if I want to keep showing up for others. And now I say no with love and yes with clarity. So the boundaries form the love, right?
Wow. No with love and yes with clarity.
Yes. But that comes with maturity as well.
I agree. It comes
Yeah.
with a learning. It's almost you have to go through that dip to get out to realize what is important from a boundary perspective. What has been the toughest boundary for you to create?
I think boundaries with family.
Oh,
I'm the oldest, and for many years, it was Terra will do it, Terra will do it, Terra will do it. And that was the being the perfect daughter, and then being the perfect wife, being the perfect mother. And so I realized that I was being all of those, but I'm not perfect. And there's some things that I'm just not going to be capable of doing. And then I'm not a selfish person, so I didn't want to seem selfish. But what I realized was that I was draining myself. And so I couldn't step up anymore. And that's where illness and stress and all that
yeah.
comes from. And I too had an autoimmune illness that came up. And I think that was driven from something that had been harboring in my body. And when all, that burnout comes, it ignites that. And so I had to learn to step back and say, okay, somebody else in the family has to start stepping up. And my adult child has to start taking responsibility. I can't dive in there every time and save him, right? My job as a mother was to raise him the best of my abilities, guide him, mentor him, give him the life skill he needs, the wings, and fly. And sometimes he's going to dive and break a wing or two.
Right.
You have to let them do them. And that's what, and they have to learn from their mistakes, just like I did as a young adult. And you have heartache and you're let down sometimes. That's part of life. And we all go through it. And I'm there for anybody that needs me, but I can't let you suck my soul either.
No. Yeah, that is such a powerful lesson. I feel as though and the boundaries and the idea of boundaries is so important. And I do
Mhm.
think you're totally right. The hardest ones are with the people that are closest with you. And I think about motherhood with toddlers right now and what kind of boundaries that I have to even fight myself for, knowing that, yes, I can have a shower.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with going to go take a shower. Learning that now, and I'm sure you have to continue to remember and to learn it as you move on, what are some best practices that you do to stay in line with protecting your peace that you could share maybe as a tactic for some of us?
I think, like I said before, is you have to let some people do them. And so I always let people know that I'm here for them, but in increments.
Right.
Like with my son, he's 32 and he's an adult with his own family. So my increment with him is we FaceTime over coffee 2 or 3 times a week. And it's
Mhm.
at a minimum of half an hour at a time. And you listen and you give advice, and
Mm.
whether they take it or not. Because before I
Mhm.
would always give advice and be like, I'm an early childhood educator. They should listen to me with their kids. I've raised thousands of kids. I had a school,
Right,
but I had to
right.
back off that because it's not my
Mhm.
child. It's not my student.
Mhm.
And this is his child, and he's going to parent them the way he wants to
Mhm.
parent them, right? So
Mhm.
I give the advice, and whether he takes it or doesn't, I have to say, okay, let them. And so
Yeah.
you just have to keep reminding yourself of that. And, people are going to have, like I used to tell my students, you can have big emotions,
Mm.
but you may not hit somebody or hurt somebody. I understand you're angry and it's okay to feel that way. So I take those little lessons of being a teacher. And what I used to say to my students, you can have, your feelings, but not your way. It's the same
Mhm.
with adults, basically the same thing. So I think that, again, you just think of, you can love them, but sometimes you have to love them from a distance because you can't take on other people's drama or life,
Mm.
especially when you can't change people. They have to be able to
Mm.
change on their own. You're never going to change somebody. They have
Mhm.
to be willing to do that themselves. So you just have to love them and support them from a distance and let them figure that out on their own. So again, boundaries are a form of love.
Oh, I love that. Yes, I want that to seep into my body and anybody else that is just facts. So, love. Such wisdom. When you think about business and when you think about life, what would you say is like your biggest lesson in business world? And then what would you say your biggest lesson is in life world?
I think they go hand in hand, but I
Mhm.
would say that's never too late to become who you're really meant to be. And I think reinvention is real. And I've lived it. I've believed in, like I said, second acts, third acts, and it doesn't stop at 40, doesn't stop at 50, and you get to write your new chapters whenever you're ready. So I think those can be business or life lessons. But in business, what I learned with my school is your staff is doesn't define your business. So
Ooh,
you define your business.
ooh,
And you bring on the team that is going to elevate your business, has the talents that you need, and you can support them, but they do not define your business. And that's a long lesson because I was trying to support my staff in a motherly way and mentor them, but some of them didn't want it. And or try to be like their best friend, which always backfires because
mhm,
then you're hurt because,
mhm,
oh, they really weren't your friend.
mhm.
Really look at that, not defining your team or your defining your business by your team or your staff. You created this, you're the entrepreneur, you're the visionary. Now you just build upon that, and they're there to elevate your business.
Yeah, beautifully said. Oh, I love that. Okay, so you define your business, and then from a personal life lesson, what would you say is the biggest one that you've had so far?
Oh, goodness, I've had a lot. Ah, I think for me, this may sound a little cliche, but I think just always listen to your internal compass because it's always right and it will always guide you. And I think my stepdad that passed in January, I'm gonna get a little teary eyed,
Mm.
but he was the internal compass.
Oh, him being an internal compass. Was he like your biggest supporter or
Oh,
did you
absolutely.
yeah, okay. So, like, that kind of guidance and support came from
Yeah,
a
I think that he was a very good listener. And when you're creative and you're a visionary, you have crazy ideas, like really crazy ideas. And people will just dismiss you. And he never did that. He always listened and always was like, I know you'll do that. I know you'll do that. And really supported big dreams.
Mm,
And I think everybody needs somebody like that in their life. It's what gets them through these crazy ideas and pushes you when you have one person in your life. And that's all you need. And that's all it takes is just one person to really believe in you. And then I have my husband, and my husband does that for me. He listens to the crazy ideas. He's my soundboard.
I love that, and I think for definitely for you because 'cause you're saying it, but I think about my journey too and how you do come up with amazing ideas, and I think it comes back to our conversation about the color, right? It's just like,
Mhm.
stop telling us to tone it down,
Yeah.
to mute out what
Mhm.
essentially we want to be true, we know to be true, our vision, our passion. I think that is such a valuable and so much harder than we give ourselves credit for to really fight
Mhm.
for some of those words. And you're totally right. It just takes one person to be like, "Oh yeah, go do it. That sounds amazing. What a great idea."
And I think that we need to teach it at a young age. And I think that's where Terra Nicole Academy of the Arts really thrive because you have teachers. That teacher can be that one person. You want to be a songwriter? Let's do it. I had a little girl that she wanted to become vegan and she wanted to let all her friends know why and explain her lunches. And I said, why don't you do a campaign? Why don't you make some posters and you sketch out your ideas and we hung them throughout the school? This is why she wanted to be a vegan. And her peers were like, oh, okay, we support you. Yeah, we're on board with
Mhm,
that. Sure. Now we understand. And
mhm,
so if you mentor that and you, as a teacher to your students, then
mhm,
it becomes very contagious. It's like a domino effect through the school. And so then students start mentoring students, the young ones, the old ones. And I think it's very important to teach children at a young age that there's somebody that's going to believe in you and your dreams and your passions you're very capable of. I don't
mhm.
think we do that enough for children, that they're capable, whether they're 18 months or they're 7, they're capable of what they want to do.
I think just hearing you tell me I'm capable, I already feel more free. That's perfect. Oh.
I just think that in such a fast paced world, I just think that we need to be out there supporting each other. I think it's very important because we get so tied up in what's happening in society, right? And that we don't have that good support system. So just be in tune with people. What ask people how they're doing, send a text, leave them a note. I think it's very important to be people's support system. And especially as a mother, right? I meet so many clients that have moved here from other states. They don't have a support system. So they lean on me too when they realize that I owned a school, teacher. Sometimes they're leaning on me for parent advice. And so I think it's just good to really surround yourself around a good community like that with no judgment and you just bounce ideas off. You have raw conversations. I think it's important just to create that support group for yourself. And when somebody doesn't offer you a chair, pull up your own chair, paint your name on it, whatever you need to do.
Oh my gosh. I think this idea of building a community, I feel like right now that's like a lot of what people want so desperately
Mhm.
is a community, whether you're creating that in your neighborhood, whether it's online, digitally, whether that's through a business, through what you're potentially doing, what I'm potentially doing. This need or search for community, what is that in people? And what do you think? we need to do more of to create more spaces that people do feel not judged.
I think it's natural for us, right? To be in a community as a human. It's what we all want. I think it comes very naturally to us. And I think that with all the social media and the internet and we get information so fast and so quick,
Mhm.
and you don't really feel like you're a part of something sustainable. And then again, like you said, we go down that little journey of social media comparing ourselves. So I think that people are needing a community where we're not comparing ourselves. There's no
Right.
need for it. That we're all different and unique, and we all have our ups and downs and our different struggles. And they don't want to compare. They just want to have organic conversation to talk about these things that we're going through, being raw about it. And not what I'm finding, there's too many networking groups. I don't want to go to a networking group.
Yeah, go off on that
Honestly,
because I
yeah.
hear you.
And when I go to some of these, nothing against networking groups, there is a purpose for them and a plan for them. But I feel I need a connection to people, and I don't get the connection there. I just feel you're just handing out a business card or getting a business card shoved in your face. And I think you can build a business on networking, but when it's more of a small, collaborative, collective relationships, when you're getting to know people. I would like to really get to know people and their journey and their storytelling before I hand somebody my business card. So I think that we're missing that.
I agree.
I think we're missing that component of a family style women's group. I would like to just have a family style dinner. I'm Italian, that's what we do. And you just
Yeah.
pass the food and drink the wine. Always gotta have wine and champagne in my book. And you're just having conversation, just simple, raw conversation. And you go away feeling, wow, I feel so light. Maybe doing it once a month or something. So maybe that's what we need to start, a women's supper club.
I'm so here for that.
No, I just think balancing our lives is good. I don't believe in perfect balance, but seasons again. Seasons aren't for hustle. Some rest, some family time. Stay in tune with what season and give yourself grace. Give myself grace. Give yourself grace. And grounding and being intentional.
Amazing. Beautiful.
Thank you. It's an honor to be in this space.
Tara, thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You truly, I just want to say thank you for being so inspiring. I love the arc of transformation. It feels so hopeful to watch what you've done, to hear what you've done. One, it's so freaking impressive. But secondly, it's just beautiful to witness and the common thread that you have through all of them. It's
Thank
it's really amazing. It's truly amazing.
I hope that the listeners feel more seen and a little bit more brave and reminded that they're not alone.
I love it. Yeah, there's no doubt that they do. Thanks for listening to It's a Circus. If today's episode made you feel a little less alone, share it with a friend who might need it too. We are building something amazing at the Turner Brothers Circus, an entire space designed for parents to find connection, laughter, and support. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Remember, you're doing better than you think. Stay grounded, stay real, and embrace that beautiful mess. And as always, the show must go on. Until next time.